What's going on, guys? Jake and Tyler from Curly Wolf, and today we're going to be looking at some bikes. Tyler has been on a mission to help me find what my next bike is going to be. I currently have a Honda CB350, and it's from '73. This bike in particular has just given me tons of issues each season, and I am going to start looking at some different options for a more reliable bike. So Tyler's put together this, how many did you say?
I think there's 11.
11 bikes for me to look at. And he knows that I do like a cafe racer style and I do like a dirt bike style. So he said he kind of switched that around and found some good options for me. So
basically what I've done is I've found, I say 11, but really it's 9. 2 of these are sort of in the other category, and I'll explain why those are in the other category in a bit. So every bike on this list should be a decent beginner bike. You should be able to find some of them used. All of them, except for a couple, are under 10,000. New. Brand new. So these should be good brand new bikes for a decent price in the styles you like for under 10,000. Okay. Maybe under 5 if you go used.
Yeah, probably. We'll see.
So Jake's gonna look at them on screen here. I am going to read off some stats that I'll go through, and I think these are the most important stats for a new beginner.
I may not be able to speak on all of these stats and understand exactly what the benefits are, unless I haven't seen this list, so I'm not sure. Just a heads up. I don't know what I'm talking about yet.
I don't really know what I'm talking about either. These are the stats that I pulled for each bike. We got the CCs, which people seem to be obsessed with, but I've gathered doesn't really matter that much. I got the horsepower, the torque. This is a big one, seat height.
Okay.
I think seat height is one of, if not the most important thing for a new rider.
Sure.
And MSRP for a brand new. Starting MSRP, because with paint colors and other options, you can get it more expensive.
So how much was your Himalayan brand new?
Well, speaking of Himalayan, let's start right there. So the Royal Enfield Himalayan is a 411cc. It has 24.3 horsepower, which doesn't sound like a lot. It has 32 Newton meters, I think is the proper rating of torque.
Okay.
Seat height is 31.5 inches. And it is, MSRP is $5,549.
That's not bad.
That is not bad, under $6,000.
I know that we went to Throttle Company up in Columbus, Ohio, several months back at this point. And I did get to see some of the Himalayans they offered, as well as like a lot of the other Royal Enfields they sold. And then I did like a lot of them, and I did like writing Tyler's. Check out that video if you haven't already. I don't know much about horsepower and torque when it comes to like what I'm gonna need yet. I know I don't necessarily plan on going on the highway as much as some people might. I just kind of want like a bike to cruise around and maybe do a little off-road on. It would be kind of fun, depending on what Tyler and I get into. But the Himalayan is definitely on my list of bikes I'm considering, especially in the price range like I mentioned.
I think the Himalayan's a good bike. It does have some, I think it has, as far as the Royal Enfields, I think it has more issues than any of the other Royal Enfields. So that is something to be aware of. I don't think it's anything you need to worry about. Royal Enfields all come with a 3-year warranty, which is really long, a good warranty.
Which of the colors?
Yeah, which is your favorite?
It's a hard one.
I have the Mirage Silver. I like the Mirage Silver because it's the only one that comes with a brown seat.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not like a big. I like this blue and white.
The thing about Royal Enfields is they offer a lot of color options.
Yeah, I'd probably end up going for all black.
All black is sweet.
Or I actually do like the Mirage Silver.
So there are a couple other...
And the Gravel Gray.
There's a couple new colors that are coming out.
That's really nice.
There's a couple new colors that are coming out in India.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're coming out here. But that pine green one, there's a sand colored one.
That was the other color. They have a sand. I'll do like a sand color for sure.
And
it's
camo, but it's brown.
Okay. If this was like even like a tighter camo, I'd like it. I just don't like personally wear anything camo.
Yeah, I'm not usually a camo guy. Okay, so
great option though.
If you like the Himalayan, leave that tab open. If you want to say bye-bye to the Himalayan, close that tab, and we'll move to the next one.
I'm gonna keep it open, but I'm excited about this next one.
Yeah, so the next one is basically like an updated Himalayan.
Okay.
I know a little bit more about this one than the other ones.
What is the difference between this and the traditional Himalayan?
I'm going to tell you about that. First, let me say it's the exact same engine, so it's 411 cc's, 24.3 horsepower, 32 newton meters of torque, slightly lower seat. It's 31.3 inches instead of 31.5. So
not even much.
It is $5,099.
That's not
starting out, so it's about $400 cheaper. It has smaller wheels, a couple inches smaller, and that's basically the differences as far as I know. Different style.
Well, in terms of like, what makes this a Scram versus
the Scrambler?
Just because it's smaller?
It's a little more on-road based, actually.
Okay.
The Himalayan is more off-road centered.
Interesting.
The Scram is a little more on-road centered. So the Himalayan has a little bit knobbier tires stock. You can put knobby tires on this. And the bigger tires, the Himalayan has a higher ground clearance. So this one's like, if you need to go off-road here and there, it'll do it.
So am I wrong in thinking that Scrams are generally better for off-road?
They're better than like road bikes.
Yeah.
But the Himalayan is built for off-road.
Okay. It does seem more like
road-based.
Road-based.
Yeah, I like the seat on this one more.
I just by looking at this, I do like the style a lot because it is almost like Cafe Racer-esque. It's definitely more a little updated.
I think it's the same seating position as the Himalayan, so the feet kind of go like right below you. But yeah, so you can flip back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely...
See how much bigger the tires are.
The tires, and honestly...
It's got the windscreen that the Scram doesn't have.
It has... this actually does have more of a dirt bike look in terms of the back here. But... not that it's the most important thing, but I do like the color options a lot on this.
That's interesting.
I actually really do like the red and white. The two that really... I like this yellow a lot.
I like their yellow that they use more than I thought I would.
I like the black and yellow look for sure, and then this teal one. I mean, I love the color teal. So it's a pretty bike.
Well, let's get rid of one.
Oh no!
If you had to choose between the Scram and the Himalayan,
it's hard without test riding or seeing them in person. I don't.
Well, you have seen these in person.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep both open.
Okay. So you want to move on to the next one?
I don't want to close either yet.
So the next one we've talked about, this one, is the KLR 650.
Ah, yes, the 650.
This is a very famous motorcycle. Been around forever.
I know that I like this based off some videos I saw. This is obviously definitely way more for off-road. It's
a little bit more like the Himalayan, where it's like the Himalayan gets called like the poor man's KLR, even though it's not that much cheaper. I would say get the ABS version, so you'd be spending a little bit more for the ABS one. But so this is a 652 cc, 34.6 horsepower, 53 newton meters of torque, 34.3 inch seat height. So that is 3 inches higher than the Himalayan. And it is $7,000 MSRP with ABS. There are a ton of these on the used market. Some of them are very old.
I looked at used ones of these online. Definitely a great bike. My buddy Dustin had some comments about this one.
I don't know much about them. I know that people say they sit up really high. I know some of the used ones, even the more recent used ones, are still carbureted. So that's something to watch out for if you don't want to deal with a carburetor. Yeah, they're supposedly a great bike. I don't know much about them.
This was back in early January, I messaged my friend about this bike. He said they're very solid, slow AF, but they're extremely reliable.
What's funny about him saying they're slow is it has 10 more horsepower than the Himalayan and 20 more Newton meters of torque.
Mind you that my friend is one of those people who
likes to go fast.
He likes to go
all
very
the time.
fast, yes.
Neither of us are really that person. So yeah, they're supposed to be a great bike. I don't think it would matter to you. The speed, I think it would feel plenty fast enough.
I like it. It's funny, and this is me just being picky on style.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I necessarily love how it looks fully. Like, I like it. I like this color a lot. But it looks almost like too much. It almost looks like it has like a racing bike vibe, too.
Oh, almost like a sport bike.
Yeah.
It's got the fairings.
But I don't mind it. I think it's a pretty bike.
It is not my style.
It's definitely not my typical style, I would say. And that's one thing I do want to consider is I would love to do bike camping.
This is more in line with the Himalayan, I would say, than the Scram. We're actually going to move on now to the more like cafe racer-ish type bikes. This one, we're back to Royal Enfield. This one is straight up an old school cafe racer.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I remember seeing these.
Yeah, this is the...
I did love these in
These are a very pretty bike.
Yeah.
So this is the Continental GT. It is currently the most expensive bike that Royal Enfield offers until the Super Meteor comes out.
And honestly, still not a bad price.
Yeah, so the CCs on this one are 648. It's 47 horsepower. It is 52 Newton meters of torque, 31.6 inch seat height, and its MSRP starts at $6,349. I will say, when you go this cafe racer style, it probably gets maybe a little more uncomfortable to ride for long distances because it's a very aggressive.
You lean forward a lot more.
Yeah, you're leaning on your wrists, basically. The foot pegs, you can't really see them in this picture.
I can definitely tell already
further
the differences between the seating alone, how different it looks.
Yeah, it's definitely more like...
I also feel like you might limit yourself a little bit in terrain with a bike like this. Maybe not fully, but... I mean, like I said, this is a very, very pretty bike.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And I love this.
I love
the green.
The green would have been my choice if I got this one. It is definitely a more aggressive sitting position. Like I said, long distances probably would get pretty uncomfortable after a while. But I wanted to pick... You liked cafe racers. This is straight up... this is a cafe racer.
It's cool.
This is the most powerful... Or has the most horsepower, I think, out of all the ones we've looked at. Yeah. I even like the red. I'm not a big fan of red, but I even like the red on here. It's very old school looking.
Yeah, I don't know. I really do.
It's hard to pick.
Yeah, it's a cool bike. I mean, I can't really say anything negative about it besides maybe having to lean forward a lot, but this is definitely the style that I like a lot.
I'll say I sat on every Royal Enfield that they had. The weight is up a little bit higher, and it weighs more than the Himalayan. So because the weight's up a little higher, it can kind of get away from you if you're like pushing it. But it's pretty low seat height.
I think, obviously I haven't gone through all these bikes yet or anything, but this is definitely an option.
So we'll keep that one up.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to
another Royal Enfield.
The last Royal Enfield on the list, the INT 650 or the Interceptor 650. This is basically the same exact engine as the Continental.
Yeah, like it looks very similar. The seat's different.
648 cc, 47 horsepower, 52 Newton meters of torque, 31.6 inches seat height. A little bit cheaper starting, $6,149. The main differences between this one and the Continental is the foot pegs are a little further forward, and the it has a handlebar, so you sit up on
Yeah.
it more.
This is also very cafe still, though.
Yeah, this is a little more just like This is like
It's like a cruiser.
this is a motorcycle.
Yeah.
A cruiser, you sit down further in. I didn't put any cruisers on this list. This could be made into a cafe racer. You just put some different. You put some clip-on handlebars on there.
The flat seat is very interesting.
This is a very modifiable bike.
Yeah. Seat alone is very, like, in terms of, this looks more like a one-seater.
Mhm.
This is definitely like you could do 2 seats, I think.
The Orange Crush is actually pretty cool in real life.
Yeah. I'm not, obviously with I'm not opposed to certain oranges, for sure.
The chromes always look great, but I imagine they'd be hard to keep clean.
Yeah, that's one thing. I like
This is
one, too.
this is a great bike.
I am already enjoying the seating alone on this in terms of how these people are.
You're
that's how I
sitting
feel.
up.
That's how I feel like I would prefer to ride my bike.
Yeah, I think this is a great option. I don't have anything bad. I haven't ridden one, but I don't have anything bad to say about everything I've heard about them.
I think I'm gonna close the
Continental.
Interesting that we have so many Royal Enfields.
They're great bikes for the price.
I'm just kidding.
So the next one we're a different brand. We're moving on to
don't even.
We're moving on to the Triumph Speed Twin 900. This is a 900cc bike, 64 horsepower, 59.9 newton meters of torque, 30.1 inches seat height. Here's the kicker: $9,895.
I don't know why, but for as long as I can remember, I've always been obsessed with Triumphs. I don't know why. But I know that I shouldn't drop this amount of money on a bike until I know I'm more experienced. Because I want to make sure that it's something that's going to get used. And with my minimal experience, I don't know how often I'm going to be riding yet. And I just don't think that it would make sense for me to spend this much on a bike at the moment. You know, since I'm very new at riding, I don't want to go all out first thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're getting into anything, like, you know, say that you want to buy a camera, you might not spend, $5,000 on a camera. You might buy an $800 camera, or anything like that. Like basically my first bike. I keep saying basically because the Honda's there still. I just would hate to get into it and then like not use it as much as it deserves at that price range. That's really all. So
we'll say no to this Triumph.
Yeah, I mean a Triumph is like my dream bike at some point in life, but
well, we're not getting much cheaper from here. I'll say we've passed all the cheap bikes.
Okay.
I think. So the next one is a bike that I love. This is the Moto Guzzi V7.
I knew there was gonna be at least one.
This is an 853cc, 64 horsepower, 73 newton meters of torque, 30.7 inch seat height.
What is this?
MSRP $9,190.
That's a fancy one.
I fell in love with this bike when I sat on it. I think this is maybe in the same area as that Triumph we just looked at, where it's like, do you want to spend $9,000 on a bike, on your first bike?
Yeah.
Specifically. So that's
No,
why
I just know myself and I know what I shouldn't do. And I mean you can't deny that this is like a gorgeous bike.
They're gorgeous.
And I remember you sat on it and were in love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is probably a great bike. Some people say maybe it's not a great beginner bike because it's a shaft drive instead of a chain drive. So the power is a little more like immediate. I just think for where I'm at right now, they're too pretty for me to get one of these. But I had to put it on the list because I love it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the rest are probably a little more expensive than what I can afford for a new bike right now. But at least we have some options.
Yep. Okay, so now we're into my picks that are definitely too expensive.
Dang.
So this is the Triumph Scrambler 900. It's 900cc, 64 horsepower, 80 newton meters of torque, 31.1 inch seat height. Starts out at $11,495. This is another Scrambler made by Triumph. Remember when I was talking about wanting to do the high swept exhaust on my Himalayan?
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. I love a Scrambler with a high swept exhaust.
Damn.
Yeah, I think these are gorgeous bikes.
This is like dream bike right here.
Yeah, these are amazing. We saw a couple old Hondas with the high swept exhaust, old Honda Scramblers.
Wow.
But I think this is maybe a little out of the price range. Maybe we could find some used, but I think
This is something else.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Maybe it's a little out of the price range.
I'm just kind of like, I have nothing to say because it's beautiful.
It's a pretty bike. So I think the Scrambler 900's a no.
Probably no.
We're into the last three where I just picked bikes that I know you will love, but are definitely out of the price range.
Okay.
Next is a Bonneville.
Well, yeah.
This is the Interceptor, but nicer. I mean, it's classic. It's a classic Bonneville.
This is like when I think of a Triumph, this is what I think of.
Yeah, this is the T120, so it's a 1200 cc engine, 79 horsepower, 105 newton meters of torque.
This is a
31.1 inch seat height, $12,695 MSRP. This black one with the brown seat.
I know.
Oh,
honestly, so
it's so pretty.
For my Honda, the original seat is actually a brown leather seat, which I still have. It's a single seat, which I'm fine with because I don't think Sammy's ever gonna get on the bike with me.
I'll get on the back,
dude.
Yeah, this is the Bonneville. The Bonneville's classic. This is a motorcycle.
Yeah,
this is a classic British motorcycle.
That is.
This is what the Interceptor wants to be.
So I'm curious. It seemed like you stuck to 3 brands primarily. Did you? I'm curious. Did you look at other Hondas on this list?
Honda doesn't really make bikes like that anymore.
Oh, really?
You could go with a Rebel.
I've seen Rebels plenty of times.
Rebels sit super low. And I think they're a little expensive for what you get. Unless you're going up to the 1100, I don't think they're really worth it. And the 1100's like over 10 grand.
Well, ironically, I am pretty much down to, this is still maybe, but I would say these 3 Royal Enfields.
See, I did not try to push you to Royal Enfield. They just have the best prices right now.
So, like, okay, let's quickly talk through these 3.
The Royal Enfields?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, obviously, this is more you can pack stuff on. It's definitely, like, dirt bike-esque in a way. A little more off-road availability. Like you said, definitely meant to drop. Not meant to drop, but...
If you drop it, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Has those crash bars that you can also tie down stuff to.
It has the wind, or the
windshield. Yeah, it's a good bike.
It's a good bike.
It does have like some issues.
Great.
Price is great. Can't beat the price.
The Scram is a little more cafe style.
A little more street style.
Not necessarily cafe, but I would say it's like almost like a between the two.
Yeah.
If
yeah, this is. I mean, you got the Himalayan, you got the Interceptor. The Scram is a little bit sort of in between.
Yeah, it looks like it's that's why I ordered them this way. It's like
this is like you want to go off road, but you also sometimes want to ride on the street. The Scram is you want to ride on the street, but you sometimes want to go off road.
And then you got Interceptor. It's just like, hey, this is a classic street bike.
But like I said, you can change it into a Scrambler. Put some money, a little bit of money into it.
And the price ranges are all very similar.
Yeah, the Scram's the cheapest at like $5,000, and I think all the colors are the same price on that one. I think the Himalayans are all the same price on the color, no matter what color you get.
Man, I don't know. I don't know.
But we know which ones we want to look at least.
At least I can go up to Throttle Company and they have all of these. I think this is still a little more than I'd want to spend, at least new.
Yeah.
So I'd only say no for that reason. Plus, I am worried about the height on this one. If this is taller than the Himalayan, I'm a pretty short guy, so.
It's a big bike, is what I've heard, and I didn't look up the weight, but I think it's pretty heavy.
It's definitely not my typical style of bike. I would say these 3 are closer in what I'm looking for style-wise than this. So. Yeah, kind of down to these 3.
Yeah, I had a feeling they were going to come down to the Royal Enfields just because of the price. And
I mean, you nailed it with style, though. Like, I mean, I enjoy the style of all 3 of these. Unfortunately, like I would say the Himalayan is the furthest from the typical style I would look at, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, I love how yours looks. I liked how it rode. It was comfortable.
Yeah.
So, and you do still sit up a lot.
Mm-hmm. So those were the bikes that I could find, sort of in your price range, sort of new, beginner friendly. I don't know every bike. If you guys know a different bike that you should take a look at, please leave it in the comments down below.
Yeah, for sure. I would love any and all suggestions on good beginner bikes, preferably if it's brand new, like around the $5,000 range.
Yeah, you definitely got a sense of like the styles he likes in this video, I think. If you have any comments about these bikes specifically that you think he should know or you think I should know, leave that in the comments. Definitely look forward to reading all your opinions of what he should get.
Yeah.
One day we'll get to work on his other bike and we'll get it up and running, but drum brakes and no ABS freak me out for a beginner rider a little bit, so.
We had talked about doing some camping
like
eventually,
camping,
and
yeah.
I think that's an important thing, especially with the Himalayan. Being able to pack more on that is really important to me because I'm pretty outdoorsy and I love the idea of riding down to a campsite and having a minimal setup.
The racks that mount on the Himalayan, most of them I believe can also mount on the Scram.
The Scram.
So you can mount the side bags on it. as
Okay,
well.
cool.
And the Interceptor, I believe you can mount stuff to it too. So and put some knobbier tires on it, and you'll be totally fine. So I wouldn't actually consider that a limitation
Too big of a
of
factor.
the Interceptor. Yeah.
Okay.
I would just go with once you're able to ride them, what you think feels best. Yeah. Once you get your license, we'll get you some test rides, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be great. I wish it wasn't in the 30s today because I want to ride today.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Thanks for checking out the video.
Be sure to like and subscribe and stay safe out there.
Bye.
About what's important in terms of horsepower or torque. I hate that I said twerk.
I don't know much about twerk.